importance. The fact is that we're still, as a newspaper industry worldwide, are still growing. Why? Because there's lots of newspapers being launched, quite frankly, all over the world, and I will recap those that are even being launched in parts of the world you wouldn't imagine, like in this part of the world, and in North America, for example.
You have been talking here about a lot of interesting things. One of those is the need of more niche products in the business. Can you please tell me more about it?
Yes, we conducted some research. Should I look into the camera? I'll start all over.
Yeah.
We have conducted research about moving forward with our business and how we can make our business stronger now and for the future. And so what we've determined after talking to some very innovative publishers from around the world is that we can create niche products in a variety of categories that suit our own marketplaces very well. And what may work here in Austria may not work in another place in the world, but and to scientifically look at our marketplace before we develop these new products so we know that is what our marketplace not only wants in terms of audience, but also what the advertisers want to support to make it profitable.
You think it can work even in small markets as Sweden? You were talking about niche products in Brazil and so on, but it's a big market.
Well, in Sweden, there's so many wonderful regional products that already are so-called hyper-local, if you want to call it that. But really, they're good regional products that know their communities very, very well. And already they're producing those kinds of things. But certainly there are ways to reach specific audiences that like certain things. So if you break it down, you can look at potential for new products in a variety of different categories, like age groups, gender, location, special interest groups, pet lovers, for example. And to take the pet lovers example further, you could say in Sweden there's 9 million people. What kind of products do we need that perhaps we don't have right now? And I think if you look at, for example, let's look at the pet publication. We could create a targeted pet publication for Sweden that could have a lot of potential for pet lovers. And it could also have some local implications. So you could have local products about local people who love their pets. Potentially could be a very popular product if executed well. Would it have potential for revenue making? You'd only be able to determine that by doing an analysis and finding out if there is a market potential for a pet publication in your area. But it's just one example. There are so many other publication possibilities as well.
You were also talking about the growing need of data analysis.
Yes. The whole idea that we're talking about with developing new products is a strategy we call the smart publishing strategy. And what that consists of, and what that starts with, is the development and integration of the databases of information that you know about your customers. So if you look at, for example, all the data that you have collected about your print subscribers, about your registrants online, about your mobile subscribers, even if it's just for text alerts or something like that, or for a contest, along with any CRM data that you might have, any advertiser data that you may have, and so on and so on. Maybe you have an events business and you'll integrate the events business in there. All of that together is much more powerful than it is kept in a separate database. So the idea is to create then a data warehouse that includes all of your consumer data, and then the analysis. This is where the analysis part comes in. So once you've integrated all that data, you need people who are really smart, who know how to analyze that data and to make sense out of it, and then to create strategies based on the knowledge that is produced by the aggregation of those databases. So for example, you can create a circulation campaign like they have in so many newspapers in America, for example, by identifying which groups, which segments in your marketplace are more likely to be subscribers than not, and then to target marketing campaigns to people like them that perhaps aren't yet subscribers. Or, along the same vein, for circulation, if you do a special offer, like a free offer for 6 weeks, like so many newspapers have, then you can create an analysis of the data of those who subscribed after the 6-week free period and those who did not, and then duplicate your success again towards the segment groups that you've learned about in your analysis, and not waste your marketing money on the segments who you feel will not be those who will subscribe after the 6-week period.
We also have just come up with preliminary results of a global survey of newspaper executives that basically says that the #1 strategy all over the world, and this is consistent everywhere, is the development of new products. This is very significant because if you are not thinking about that today, that is something that you must think about. Developing new products to expand your audiences and your potential for revenue. That is the way forward.